My fiancée left me for a wealthy man because I couldn't afford her lifestyle. Now that he's gone, she wants me back, but I've already moved on. Hello Reddit I+ here. This still feels surreal to write, but I need to get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there will understand. I 29M was engaged to Eliza 27F. We met 6 years ago through mutual friends when we were both struggling to get our footing in the adult world. I was a broke teacher doing freelance tutoring on the side, living with 2 roommates and trying to claw my way into some sense of stability. Eliza worked as a receptionist at a high-end interior design firm and had big dreams. I admired that about her. She was magnetic, charming, beautiful, knew how to work a room. I won't lie. I was completely in love with her. From early on, she had high-end tastes, but I brushed it off. I thought she was just aspirational. I figured once we had more money, it wouldn't be an issue. For a long time, I tried to keep up. Birthdays at upscale restaurants, weekend getaways I really couldn't afford, surprise gifts that made me anxious every time I checked my bank account. She loved to post everything online with captions like, "My man spoils me," even though I was silently panicking about overdraft fees. But I was in love, and love makes you rationalize a lot of things. About 1.5 years ago, I proposed. I bought a modest ring, not tiny, but not extravagant either. I sold my vintage guitar for it. It was sentimental to me, but she was the woman I wanted to build a life with, and I figured that's what mattered. She cried when I proposed, said yes, told me I was everything she ever wanted. But a few months into the engagement, things started changing. She grew distant, more irritable. She'd make snide comments like, "Maybe we can afford a real honeymoon if you get a second job," or, "So-and-so's fiancé just bought her a Tesla. Must be nice." I felt smaller and smaller by the day. I tried to ignore it, chalk it up to stress. Maybe wedding planning was just getting to her. Then she started talking a lot about a man named Gregory. He was a client at her firm. Late 40s, old money, recently divorced. Apparently, very charming. She'd mention him casually at first, saying he was funny or knew everything about wine. I got that gut feeling, the one you don't want to have. And when I asked her about it, she brushed me off. "Don't be insecure. He's just a client." Except a few weeks later, she broke off the engagement, told me she needed to find herself, and that we were growing in different directions. I didn't even have time to process the breakup before she posted pictures online. Her sipping champagne in what was clearly a penthouse, tagging Gregory in photos from some tropical resort. The captions were brutal. "Sometimes you outgrow people, and that's okay." It destroyed me. I went through all the stages: denial, anger, humiliation. I wondered what I did wrong, what I could have done differently. I spent months beating myself up, trying to understand how someone could just switch like that. One day, I was her everything. The next, I wasn't good enough for her to even call before leaving. I hit rock bottom. Therapy helped. So did cutting off all contact and deleting social media. I moved in with a friend temporarily and focused on rebuilding my finances, my self-esteem, my life. And then, Rachel. We met at a charity event I almost didn't go to. She's warm in a way Eliza never was. There's no game, no checklist I have to keep checking off to feel worthy. We cook together, watch Netflix under cheap blankets, talk about real things. She's the kind of person who doesn't care if your car has heated seats. She just wants to make sure you're safe driving home. Things with Rachel grew slowly, naturally. For once, I didn't feel like I was constantly auditioning to be loved. Then, about 2 weeks ago, Eliza reached out. I didn't recognize the number. She asked to meet for coffee. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Part of me was curious. Part of me wanted to hear her say it, to finally get some kind of closure. She showed up looking different. Still beautiful, but more fragile, less polished. She told me Gregory had dumped her 2 months ago after she caught him cheating with his assistant. He apparently called her too much work and moved on like she was a used accessory. Her words. She told me I had been the only man who ever loved her for who she was, that she made a mistake, that she missed me, that she still loved me. Then she said the line that made my skin crawl. "I see now that money doesn't buy happiness." I let that sit in the air for a minute, and then I told her the truth. I told her I did love her, probably more than I should have, that I tried harder than anyone ever should to make her feel valued, and that she left. Not because we grew apart, but because she chose a lifestyle over a person. I told her I didn't hate her, but I didn't trust her, and I didn't want her back. She cried, told me I was being cold, said people change and deserve second chances. I nodded, and then I left. I walked out of that cafe feeling like I had just closed a book I'd been rereading for way too long. Not with rage, not with sadness, just a quiet kind of peace. She chose luxury. I chose peace, and I wouldn't trade what I have now for all the penthouses and champagne in the world. I haven't heard from her since, but she unblocked me on Instagram. I didn't follow her back. I peeked once, just once, and saw a few vague, sad-looking story posts, quotes about starting over and learning who really cares. I muted her account after that. I'm not angry anymore, but I'm not going to be her emotional safety net either. I was that once. I gave everything I had, and when that wasn't enough, she looked for someone shinier. Now that the gloss has worn off and the yacht parties have ended, she wants to come home. But I'm not home anymore. Rachel doesn't know all the details yet. She knows the broad strokes. Eliza left me, I was heartbroken, I went through hell and came out the other side, but she doesn't know about the cafe. I'm still deciding whether I want to tell her, not because I'm hiding anything, but because part of me wants to protect the peace we've built. Rachel and I don't talk about status. We talk about values. I recently brought her to a small family BBQ and watched her help my mom set up chairs without being asked, laugh with my little cousin over some dumb TikTok dance, and talk to my dad about his favorite jazz records like she actually cared. I stood there looking at her and realized, this is what I always wanted. Not the lifestyle, not the labels, just someone who shows up, every time, without needing a reason. A few days ago, I found a folder in my email labeled Wedding Plans. I'd completely forgotten I had saved it. Guest lists, sample invitations, venue ideas. A Pinterest link Eliza had sent with the caption, "Someday soon, heart eyes." I stared at it for a moment, then I deleted it. All of it. Because I'm done mourning someone who was never really mourning me. I'm not bitter. I'm just done investing energy into people who only value you when you're convenient, or when their upgrade stops answering texts. I've got better things to focus on now. Things like remembering my worth, things like making dinner with Rachel on a Friday night, things like peace, and maybe, just maybe, things like falling in love again, but this time, for real.